Hello and welcome to our day 3 of our virtual design market. We are so honored that you are here with us today, and we're kicking off the day with Jessica Marx, who is a sales and business strategist. And before I go ahead and introduce Jessica, I do want to tell you a little bit about who I am, who Jessica is, and then I'll pass it over to you. So my name is Reisa Elden. I'm the head of industry partnerships here at Houzz. We have just launched Houzz Pro, which offers an all-in-one solution that empowers home design and renovation professionals like you to stand out, win more clients, increase profits, get paid faster, and stay connected with their clients and teams. So because of the interesting circumstances that we're in, we have launched our virtual design market, which is a curated 4-day event with speakers and brands presenting products and just new strategies to help you move through this time. And we are so appreciative of Jessica joining us today. Jessica has over a decade of sales and executive management experience. Jessica's strategic approach and passion for business is second to none. She's able to take each goal and tie it to revenue growth. She streamlines processes, identifies areas of wasteful spend, and motivates her clients to level up. Jessica has built and created 4 thriving businesses from the ground up and is ready to help you build yours. So without further ado, Jessica, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thank you, Reisa, and thank you everybody for joining in this morning. I am so excited to be here. When I was approached by Susan Winterstein and Reisa to do this workshop for you guys, I couldn't have been more excited to share not only my expertise when it comes to sales, but also scaling your businesses not only during the current pandemic that we're facing, but in the years to come. So I am Jessica Marx, and I have experience from building a multi-billion-dollar startup where I was in charge of all corporate strategy and a national sales team of over 500 sales reps. So this gave me an incredible insight into not only the operational side of the business, but the sales and ultimately leading that company up to the point where it was acquired. So after I left that company, I decided to launch the Jessica Marx Coaching Corporation, where I work with female entrepreneurs to grow and scale their brands to 6 and 7 figures. I am also a mom to 2-year-old twins. I am married to a San Diego City firefighter paramedic, and he and I also own a construction company together. So we've got a lot going on around here, but I am incredibly passionate about all things business, and I'm looking forward to giving you guys some tips and areas today that you can really excel in your business, especially when it comes to the mindset and the confidence you need to have to not only sell now, but in the years to come in your business. So we will go ahead and get started. Some of the topics I'm going to cover today is starting off with the commitment to your business, distractions versus opportunities, powerful prospecting, because right now that's going to be incredibly important to fill those pipelines, and then also the confidence to start closing new leads within your business. So it's time for you to have a fresh perspective on where you can take your business. Okay, so in a time of uncertainty, what are you certain about? As a sales and business strategist, when I go to work with companies, whether you're a solopreneur or a larger corporation, if I'm going to develop strategy for a business, I focus on what I do know rather than what I don't know. There's too many variables out there of what we don't know, so it's incredibly important that you start focusing on what you can control. So right now, in the commitment to your business, you can control how you show up, how you support your team if you have one, the client experience, which is incredibly important now more than ever. It's something that I really work through with all of my clients, is how do they over-deliver when working with their clientele. These are going to be incredibly great lead generators. So if you're not reaching out right now, checking in on past clientele who you've done design work for, or your current clients, making sure that you're staying in touch and really solidifying that relationship, you're doing yourself a huge disservice, because these are going to be the people that are sharing with their peers, with their inner circle, on how great of an experience it was working with a designer like yourself. We also have the significance as an industry expert. You really need to be establishing yourself beyond the photos of your work, beyond just posting to your social media accounts as a leader within the designer industry. You can do this in a multiple different ways. I know you guys know how to get out there through publications, editorials, utilizing Houzz, being a guest speaker. That's going to be incredibly important right now in order to validate you as an industry expert. We also really want to maintain the mission, vision, and values of your business. I oftentimes have my clients go back and revisit those when they feel like something is not right in the business or it feels off to them. If you can recenter and go back to where you were a year ago, 5 years ago, what you built this business foundation on, it's going to help you really create the vision for the future. So ask yourself, where do you want to stand at the end of all this? So 6 months, a year from now, 2 years from now, when we have made it through the other side of this, who do you want to be? Where do you want your business to be? And what do you want to be known for? I want to point out too that uncertainty is nothing new in business. I feel like a lot of people have gone into this panic, pause, or immediate pivot. And really, we've never had guaranteed business coming in over month over month. Sales have never been guaranteed to us as entrepreneurs. And so if you kind of just step back and look at it from a different point of view, you'll realize what we're going through now is very similar to what we've gone through in the past. However, it's just elevated because of all of the media and what's going on around us. So you need to sell certainty to your prospects right now. It's not what you think is valuable, it's what your potential clients are going to find valuable. So really reaching out, figuring out what does your audience not only need to hear right now, but what will they find valuable and what will help them make a decision to ultimately invest in you in the future. Okay, so one of the reasons why people resist change is because they focus on what they have to give up rather than what they have to gain. So I want to briefly touch base on opportunity over distraction. It is our responsibility right now as business owners to keep selling. We need to meet our potential clients where they are at currently. People are still buying. I keep hearing that nobody thinks that we're going to cut back, that it's going to be a recession, that nobody's spending money right now. That is absolutely false. I can tell you over the last 6 weeks, I have worked with a wide range of my clients in multiple industries, from plastic surgeon's office, solar installation, architects, you name it, who are all still closing deals while others in their market are not. And it's simply because they're still showing up, they're still doing business, and they're still selling. Someone will identify prime opportunity over the next 6 months and create a new trend within your industry. I guarantee it. Some of the nation's most successful businesses were created in the 2008 recession. When we think about it, we hear the Venmos, the Ubers, the Pinterest, the Instagrams, just to name a few. There will be design firms, there will be people within your industry right now that see a gap, that see an opportunity and create something new. I want that to be one of you on this call. I want that to be multiples of you on this call. So really, really be doing that research and development right now to identify where there's opportunity for you to change the market. If you don't do it, somebody else will. I truly believe that for some of you on this call, it is your opportunity to shine. You've been thinking about this for a while. You know that there's areas within your own business or within your current industry that you're ready to shake up, you're ready to change. Now's the time to make those commitments. And in order to close deals over the next 6 months, you will need to see an influx of discovery calls. And here's why. Because right now, in order to engage and maintain and continue filling your pipeline, you're going to have a lot more people that are hesitant to do business. So if you normally get on the phone with 2 to 3 discovery calls a month, I'd like to see you double that in order to keep your closing ratio the same. You're gonna have to work a little bit harder and a little bit smarter, but I guarantee you those deals will still be coming in. So something to really think about is that when we as a nation face economical hardships, the money doesn't disappear, it simply changes hands. And we know this to be true for those of you who were in business during the 2008 recession. That money didn't go away. There were businesses that really, really started booming, and there were other businesses that unfortunately went under. And it's simply because people found value in different areas. You really want to make sure that you are staying on top of the industry right now and that you are creating so much value that people are willing to invest. If your current market of clientele can no longer afford your services. So for example, if you were doing commercial design work in restaurant industries, obviously that industry right now is not going to be making these large investments. So if you can slightly shift your ICP, which is going to be your ideal client profile, to be something similar, you could still do commercial, but maybe not within the restaurant space. If you can slightly shift that until that restaurant industry is able to pull out of this, you will still be able to do business as usual. You just might have to shift for the time being. This doesn't necessarily mean that this needs to be long-term or a permanent demographic change within your business. These are soft trends. We know this because we know that some of the companies that had a difficult time in the recession, those types of industries, those types of businesses are still around. It may not just be as many of them. So you will be able to pull out of this. You just have to have the confidence, the mindset, and the vision to do that. And Reisa, feel free to stop me if there's any questions coming in.
Okay, we're still going pretty well, and everybody can see and hear you, so keep on going.
So now let's deep dive into prospecting. I know that all of you know where to prospect and market your business. So I want to show you the transition that you are going to need to have in your mindset in order to take place from being busy to productive. And there's a huge difference. I have found over the last 6 weeks, a lot of business owners have become incredibly busy, but not incredibly productive because they're unsure of what they should be working on. They're unsure of their messaging. They're unsure of where we as a nation are going to go. So they're immediately pulling back. They're not doing the necessary research in order to catapult their company through this. And so you personally have to believe these prospecting tips that I'm going to give you and these mindset shifts in order for anyone else to believe them. And I truly believe that when you start prospecting with confidence, you will see a shift in the conversations that are happening. So mindset shift number one that I want all of you to make is you can't help them if you don't sell to them. So I hear a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners out there saying that it feels insensitive to sell right now, or they're not going to sell because no one's buying, or there's people out there struggling, so they don't want to look inconsiderate by generating leads and selling. But that's absolutely not true, because if you think about the portion and the percentage of the market that you need to buy from you in order to continue the business, it's a very, very, very small percentage. And there are people out there that are still building homes. They're still building commercial office spaces. There are people out there that are financially still doing really well, and they are looking to invest in this area. And if you're not selling, they are not buying from you. Mindset shift number two is that you need to absolutely 100% right now be committed to leading the way in your industry. So if you are somebody that is constantly looking at other designers' profiles for content creation, or you're looking to be what I call very vanilla and just stay middle of the road and not really take a stance on the design industry, or not really get out there and be seen as a leader, it's going to be very difficult for you to fill that pipeline, because in a saturated market, right now, it's those who are willing to shine, those who are willing to show up, those who are willing to say, I'm really good at this, this is why you need a designer, I'm here to help you, I'm here to support you, here's the benefits to working with a designer, and I am an expert in this industry because of X, Y, and Z. Another shift that I've asked all of my clients to make right now is there have been a lot of businesses labeled essential or non-essential. And if you feel like your business has been labeled non-essential, you are going to feel like right now anybody making this investment is not a priority. And that's absolutely not true. I can tell you that there are prospective clients out there who absolutely 100% see a designer as essential to them, that they can't imagine the thought of building this home or building out this commercial office space without having a designer on their team. You have to believe that going into these prospecting calls, when you're producing content, when you're public speaking, when you're asked to be on a podcast, you have to believe that you are 100% essential to those prospective clients out there. And that is why you keep showing up day after day through all of your marketing platforms to say, I will be here once the nation opens back up. I will be here 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, to be there for you to work on these projects. And the last one is, you are confident you can deliver the outcome they are looking to achieve. This really translates on a sales call. When people feel like you are confident, you know what you're doing, and you can deliver them the exact result they are looking for, that is when they are willing to make that financial investment in you. When the customer believes, they buy. So think about any time that you've made an investment over the last couple months or a year. When you've gotten on those calls, discovery calls, or you've gone to make that purchase, whether it be in your web design, your SEO, you wanted to feel like that person that you were investing in had the solution, had the answer, and could deliver it to you in an effective way, quickly, and efficiently, to where when you walked away after making that investment, you felt like you got everything out of that deal, out of that contract that you were looking to achieve. This confidence needs to start in the prospecting phase in order for you to close more clients once you get them on the call. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about, how do you have the confidence to sell? So I work with a lot of clients who, when they come to me, they have self-labeled themselves, an introvert, they're shy. A lot of them are in the creative space, so they prefer to be behind the computer. They don't want to be forward-facing. They get on sales calls, it's very nerve-wracking to them, and they are nervous. Doubting yourself is 100% normal. If you don't feel a little bit of fear, if you don't feel a little bit scared going into some of these situations, that's not normal. If you let those insecurities and those doubts stop you, there's going to be another designer who steps in and takes that spot. And now more than ever, you need to be showing up. So, let's see here. Okay, so how do you master those fundamentals? Well, sales, honestly, is the most powerful business competency you will ever learn when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And that all starts with the mindset. And I think that people oftentimes forget that because they are looking at the actual sales cycle and they feel like they need to be really good at identifying exact steps in order to close a deal, when really if you focus more of your efforts on your mindset going into the call, going into the prospecting, you would be amazed at how those mindset shifts can really translate into increased sales. And I truly believe that you need to master these fundamentals before any of the prospecting begins if you want to see a direct correlation to increase in sales. And what I mean by that is how you show up all the time is a representation of how you will show up when you get hired to work with them. And people want to see that. I know with a lot of creatives and designers, they hide behind their work. And I don't want any of you to do this anymore. So if your whole social media feed is, and your blog posts and your email content is all of your just design work, I really want you to focus on building that actual personal relationship with your following and with your prospective leads. More so than ever when people are hiring somebody like a designer or a builder or whatever it may be, where it's a long-term relationship. You're going to be in their home, you're going to be working with them for months on end. They want to make sure that it's a good fit personality-wise and that they have that connection with you before they ever even go to contract. So how do you cultivate those relationships? So buyers do want right now relationships, connection, and comfort. And comfort is a huge one whenever we go through something like we're going right now. They want the reassurance that the investment they're making is going to be the right investment. They want to feel comfortable knowing that you are going to show up, that you are going to over deliver, that your business is going to survive through this. And how you're able to do that is really build that reassurance with them. Be so confident on these sales calls that they trust you 100% in turning these over. Reisa, are we doing good on comments or questions?
Yeah, we're doing good. I think people are really absorbing the content. So maybe we'll save Q&A for the end, unless I feel like I might stop you if I see a really good question. But I think I asked the question and I asked the audience, basically, what are you struggling with right now in terms of selling your business? And a lot of people did respond, the confidence piece. So I think we're hitting the nail on the head with that.
Okay, perfect. So I'll keep going through this, and yes, we'll do Q&A. Okay. So how do you effectively translate the pride in your work? So when I sit down with a lot of people within the design or creative space, and they start talking about their work, whether it's a website they built, a remodel they did, they are so excited to share it, and they're proud of it. You have to be able to translate that pride through all different channels, but you have to incorporate selling into that. So a lot of times you're just posting a picture or sharing a project. People need more connection than that right now, and they need to see the confidence that you had going into that. You can't just be showing the finished product, the finished piece. You have to show the industry expert in you behind that and having the confidence to say, here's what I did, here's the before, here's the after, here's what it took in order to do that. This is why you need to hire a designer. These were the benefits of me being on this team, working with the contractors, working with the homeowners. And so not only are you showing the picture, but you're building the story behind it. You're building the pride. And once again, you're establishing yourself as that industry expert. All right, so you need to be ready to win. And this is the biggest mindset shift, especially with my female entrepreneurs on the line. This is something that we struggle with. It's probably one of the most difficult times that I see female business owners have, is they don't go into sales calls, they don't go into meetings, they don't go into big presentations ready to win. They go in wanting to provide information, wanting to share what they do. But in all reality, you've got to go into these meetings. You've got to go into these sales calls. You've got to go into even your email campaigns ready to win, ready to get new clients, ready to succeed. And when you make that mindset shift of, I'm going into this call because I really want to work with this client. I 100% know I'm the right designer for them. I know I can absolutely deliver what they're asking for. And I am going to not only effectively translate that on the call, I'm going to build this relationship to where they can't imagine working with anybody else, and they know that I am the right designer for them. You have to remember, people don't buy their way into something, they buy their way out. So when people are looking to work with a designer, they're buying their way out of having to do this on their own. They're buying their way out of having to figure this out or find and source the pieces that they know would be great for their home. And so being able to pick up on those on calls, on any type of sales meeting, and really effectively translate that and make it to a win is going to be so important for your business. And self-talk equals self-performance. So if you go into a meeting saying, I can't afford not to get this client. Business has been slow, there's no other leads. If I don't get this client, I don't know what's going to happen to my business. You probably won't get that business. I guarantee you, because you're already in a scarcity mindset, you're already self-doubting yourself. If you flip the script and you go into that meeting and you self-talk and say, I know I can get this client. I know I'm qualified. I know I'm a great designer. I know I can deliver exactly what they're looking for. I am going to walk out of this meeting, or I'm going to end this Zoom call with these clients saying, I am all in and I can't wait to work with you. So you really got to make those mindset shifts in order for that to happen. And another thing to keep in mind right now is sales is a result. Selling is a practice that you need to do in order to achieve that result. So if I have any new designers on the line, or I have some designers that only work with a couple clients a year and they haven't had to do a lot of selling, you can't be scared to go into these discovery calls or have more of these conversations, knowing they might not all translate into business, but the more you practice, the more you exercise this muscle, the stronger you're going to get at it and the higher your closing ratio will be.
Yeah, we'll pop right into Q&A. Thank you so much. That's really impactful. I actually was taking notes, and I loved the ideas about innovate, double up on your discovery calls, and money doesn't disappear, it changes hands. Those were some of my key takeaways. But let's get moving to some of the questions right here. This was a good question. This is something that came up. We're doing these weekly Wednesday webinars. It's called our Resilience series. And we brought in legal experts, business coaches. Your session today is part of our virtual design market. This content will live on for those of you that are asking for a recording. But this was a good question about discounting your services. What about fees on products or fees to gain clients? What do you think about discounting?
No, absolutely. Okay. Do not discount your business right now. You will devalue your brand. I am a huge advocate for not discounting any of your products or services unless you're truly like a product-based business and you only do online product sales or in-person product sales, then yes, right now would be a prime opportunity in order to compete in the marketplace. If you are service-based, do not discount them. The problem is when people see that you're discounting your rates, it's very difficult to get them to ever pay full price again. And you're basically saying, I'm not busy. I don't believe that I'm worth what I was previously charging. And you will also start attracting a completely different demographic of clientele than what you're used to working with as soon as you start discounting your services.
Great. Okay, and I did see some more questions coming in right now. Oh, this is an interesting question. I like this question coming in. How do we sell to clients who have been burned by a bad experience with another designers. And I want to be clear that there might be men, women, architects, builders, designers, all sorts of different home design and renovating professionals on this call. So when we say designers, we mean everybody, and we want to make sure that you understand that this content is for you. But that is really true. Like, how do you come in when you're even a contractor and you've been burned or had faulty work from another contractor? You probably understand that, Jessica, if you guys own a construction business. And how do you change the perception because, right, somebody has connotated your industry with something bad?
Yes, absolutely. So we actually face this in both businesses. So me as a coach, there are a lot of underqualified coaches out there that I get clients coming all the time that have had really bad experiences. Same with our construction company. It is a field where, unfortunately, a contractor's license doesn't mean a whole lot sometimes as far as what's out there. So one is that's where the industry expert comes into play. So you should be, basically what should be selling your brand, your business, is your reputation, not your marketing, not your collateral, not what you're putting out there, but your actual reputation within your industry. So having third-party validation is a really great way to achieve that, whether it's through client testimonials, whether it be video or copy, having those on your website, sharing projects through social media where you actually have the homeowner or the business owner, if it's commercial, engaged and talking about their experience working with you. That third-party validation is going to be really important, that you can provide multiple references for these people to look into, to talk to, in order to validate that what you're telling them as far as your integrity goes, that somebody else can confirm that. I will say these can also be a longer sale because they're a little bit gun shy. They're scared to commit, especially if it's a high dollar, high ticket contract. It's going to be a huge investment for them, and they're going off of past experience. So a lot of hand holding sometimes in order to get them to go to contract, that reassurance, having somebody else validate, what it's like working with you, and then really building yourself up prior to that, where they've seen the testimonials, they've, they know you're an industry expert through, maybe speaking engagements, through vendors recommending you, other designers, other contractors. So really having those personal relationships with others in your industry or parallel industries can really help you overcome those objections and obstacles.
Okay, that's super helpful. Just confirming if you guys can just hear us. I'm pretty sure you guys can hear both of us now. So sorry again about that. How do you handle a potential client who feels you're going to be too expensive and just wants to get ideas?
So I'm a huge fan in really having a pre-qualification process in your business if you're a service in a service-based industry. So one, the copy on your website, letting people know that you either have a wait list, that you only get on the phone with people that are ready to commit and go to the design phase or go to the build phase. You can also have steps built into your contact form where you're able to identify certain questions that before you ever get on the phone with them, you can tell how serious they are, where they're at in the steps. And then also budget, what are they looking to spend? So that you're not getting on the phone. So if you're somebody that has a minimum of $25,000 as a project contract, and they fill out that they're looking to do, a small remodel and their budget's $5,000 to $10,000. You're then able to address that before you get on the phone with them, especially if you're really busy. You can have, a general email that goes out that says, like, we can't accommodate a project of this size right now. Here's some other designers that we know of that are that we highly recommend that would be able to take on this type of project. So really making sure that you're not wasting a lot of time getting on discovery calls or in-person meetings for unqualified leads.
Okay. There's a lot of great questions coming in here. Getting people to jump on the virtual train has been our biggest struggle. People aren't seeing the value in meeting with a designer virtually. How have you counseled people on how to get people to jump on board with the virtual side of this new business direction?
Yes. So I have quite a few clients. I think at the beginning of this call, I mentioned even my client that owns a solar company. I mean, you can imagine trying to get people to go solar right now and they can't even come up to your house. And so they've had to completely transition their business into a virtual model. And it's actually working really well because the marketing and the way that they are pitching it is making it it's making it fun, it's making it attractive. They have, different techniques that they're beta testing in order to get people on these Zoom calls. And so I think you have to really take a different stance of just let's get on the call with the designer. So one of the recommendations I would have is if you're trying to fill your pipeline, what is the information that somebody's going to need now that's looking to do maybe a remodel 4 months from now, 6 months from now, when all of this lets up a little bit? So as a designer, what is the information, or a builder or an architect, what is the information that you can start putting out now, the content, in order to help them get everything lined up, whether it be refinancing, whether it be that you're informing them that, sometimes it takes 3 months to get a certain chandelier in. Putting out that type of content and then translating that into a call to action that says, we're currently booking out for projects starting in the month of August. Now is the time to get on the phone. We can walk you through not only all these steps on how to prepare, but we can start pulling together a lot of the design inspiration, or a lot of the floor plans, a lot of the remodel plans, in order to get you guys ready to, when we can meet in person, we are ready to go and we've wasted no time. So you really have to pitch it to them to meet the needs of where your clients are currently at.
Okay. And to add on to that, Jessica,
yes,
this is a great question coming in. Sorry, they're all good. There's so many good questions coming in. Okay. Tons wanting to do virtual design, so on the contrary of my previous question, but they think it is easier, faster, and want a super quick turnaround time. How do you make them understand that it still takes time? I have shown an example of another client's project just so they can see my process and the content that is included, but they still don't seem to get it, as I'm not doing retail or the first thing I'm finding online. Yeah, how do you explain this new process kind of with your client?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's our job as business owners, no matter what industry you're in, to provide the education. If these people could do it on their own, they would, but they're not. They're coming to you because you're the expert. And so it is our responsibility as a business owner, or anybody that works on your team, to be able to tell your prospective clients or your new clients, this is everything that goes into this. And this is why it's so incredibly important that we have a 6-week turnaround time or an 8-week turnaround time. Sometimes things take a lot longer to source. Now more than ever with shipping delays, we want to make sure that we have everything coming in on the timeline so you're not waiting for pieces. Or this is everything that goes into the back end. It's important to us as a business that we give everybody a design or a build that meets their needs, that's unique to their lifestyle, their household, the way that they live, their family structure. And in order to do that, everything is completely custom built or custom designed to meet those needs, and that takes time. So you really just need to be pushing out that education. And I find a lot of business owners don't set boundaries or expectations on the front end. And it's critical to your business to have those clear boundaries. It's helpful not only to you and to be able to scale, but it's helpful to your clients when they go into a contract or they go into an agreement and they know the exact timeline. They know how long things are going to take and the reason why it's going to take that long.
Yep. Okay. Here's another interesting take. I've been told that my potential clients are afraid that I'm too expensive.
So there is a market for everyone. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, there's going to be a floor and there's going to be a ceiling when it comes to pricing. And this is the same. I mean, I use the Nordstrom and the Walmart analogy all the time. both very successful companies. However, Nordstrom is not going after Walmart shoppers. On the contrary, Walmart is not wasting their marketing spend on Nordstrom shoppers. They both have a very different demographic. If someone is coming to you and they can't afford you or they think you're too expensive, you have a couple issues. One, you're either marketing yourself incorrectly. So you're marketing to the wrong demographic. So then you're attracting the wrong clientele. That would probably be the biggest problem. Or two, you're not in the right, you're not meeting the clients where they're at. So you're either attracting the right clients, but they don't see the value in what you're giving them or what you're delivering to them. And so you're really going to need to find out and do some research and development of what does the client actually find valuable and what makes them so willing to write a check for this amount because they find this so valuable.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's see. Clients have put projects on hold. How can I convince them to move forward?
So I don't even necessarily think it's about convincing them to move forward right now. I think the biggest thing you can do is relationships. So maintaining that relationship, staying in touch with them, really getting to know what are their concerns, what are their hesitations. Is it financial? Is it health, that they just don't want anybody in their home for health reason, but the financial piece is not an issue? Is it they're not really that concerned about the health, but the financial piece is a huge issue? So getting to the root of why they're putting it on hold, staying in touch with them, nurturing that relationship, figuring out at what point are they going to feel comfortable, and then also identifying opportunities to still work with them. So maybe there's areas of the project that you're still able to push forward and move along, and decisions that can still be made without them feeling like that concern is not a valid concern to them.
Okay. Okay, and then any other feedback about, the question was explain more, can you explain more in depth about discovery calls? So again, like you said, to double up your discovery calls, and what is that discovery call, what does that process look like? What are you talking about? Are you charging for the 15-minute call? Can you just give us a brief synopsis of what that discovery call looks like?
So I think every industry, and depending on how long you've been in business, what type of revenue you're driving, how large of projects you're working on. So some of you may call it a discovery call, some of you may call it, a new client meeting or a prospecting call, whatever you want to call it. It's basically that in all of your marketing, whether it be through Facebook, through Houzz, through Instagram, through your email list, you need to start having call to actions. And those CTAs should be, if you're thinking about remodeling, or you are researching designers and you're curious to know how we can, work together, I would really recommend getting on as many calls right now as you can. I mean, a lot of you have seen a huge slowdown in the actual workload, so you have the free time to be able to do that. These prospecting calls are so helpful on a number of different levels. One, it's really great experience and really great practice for you. So right now, even if they're not willing to invest, it gets you talking. You don't know who that person knows that they may refer you to. They may not be ready to commit right now, but maybe 6 months from now, they're ready to commit. So getting on those calls. And then two is that you are able to then have follow-up. You're able to build relationships. So by getting people into these meetings and getting into these virtual design consultations, you can decide whether or not you want to charge for them or not. If you're newer or you're really slow and you don't have a ton of business, I would say don't charge for them. But absolutely, when you get to a certain point in your business, you may want to have an actual fee to get on these 45-minute calls, especially when you're in a design space. Now, it's important that when you are on these calls, you are not telling them what you're going to do to their home. You're not telling them how you're going to do it, how you're going to remodel or redesign their home. You're simply selling the results. You're selling the experience. You're selling the solution. So you should be talking about the benefits of working with you, the cost savings that clients have had because you have really great vendor connections. You should be talking about how quickly people were able to move into their brand new custom home because you had everything lined up and ready to go, that as soon as the builder was done, you were in there doing installs. Those are the types of things you should be selling on the call, and also how easy it was for your clients and how they weren't having to go from store to store to store, home furnishings, or looking online for hours on end because you were able to source everything and bring it to them in presentations. Those are the types of things that you want to be talking to on these calls, not necessarily the how or the what.
Okay. That's super helpful. And do you recommend sending an email or literally calling and probably having to leave a voicemail when you're reaching out to, new leads, new contacts?
So I would not be cold calling leads right now. I'm not a huge fan of cold calling anyways. And if you're not really good at sales, that's a #1 way to make you absolutely hate sales. So I wouldn't do cold calling. However, there's so many great ways that you can build relationships from your computer, your cell phone, whether it be through all your social media platforms, your email list, and really engaging them, be putting out constant content. That's the thing here. I see a lot of people that post once a week or once a month. You've got to be, you want these prospective clients to be seeing so much of you that day by day, there's a little piece of them that says, wow, I really love the way she does that. Or I love how she got on and she explained how I could move these picture frames. Or this builder got on and told me different areas of my home I could be checking right now to make sure, everything's running safely. So those are the types of things where they're getting such added value and they're learning from you that they slowly building that relationship to where when you do send out an email or you message them in the DMs or private message, that relationship has already slowly been built, that trust is there, and then you can work on getting them on the phone.
Okay. That makes sense. I have decided to give a percentage of my projects to a charity initiative in my city. That's awesome. That's really cool. Instead of discounting, like as a way to market and say, I've seen a lot of retailers kind of shift their business, like we're giving a certain percentage off. I know a really amazing nonprofit, not to give a plug, that I'm associated with called Savvy Giving by Design. So if you want to give to that nonprofit, there's a lot of chapters across the US, and that's actually run by Susan Winterstein. It's really incredible. If you want more information, feel free to email me. I know Jessica is involved with that nonprofit as well, being in San Diego. But I think that do you think that that's a good idea, Jessica, in terms of not discounting, but like giving a portion away?
Well, so I think you have two totally different things here. I mean, a discount bucket is going to be, you devaluing your brand or you feeling like you have to lower your prices in order to attract more clients. I think when it comes to charitable giving, and this is something that's incredibly important to my business model, and I really encourage all of my clients to build it into their model as well. And it's something to me where every time I close a new deal, a new contract, and I go into a sales call, it's an incentive for me because I'm thinking about the money that I'm going to be able to donate. And I think it has to make sense in a couple different ways. I think you actually truly have to be passionate about what you're donating to. I think if you can find something that somewhat aligns with your industry or your business, that also helps. And then I think that you have to be very careful how you present this and promote it, because I do think that there are some companies out there that use this as a sales technique in order to kind of, shine a light on them, when truly I think that there's a lot of different ways that you as a company can say, we donate because it's important to us. We donate because we believe in this. And we're not just donating during a pandemic, we donate all the time. And we're thankful that we're in business. We're thankful that we have clients like you. And then really also bringing your clients into that experience as well. So I recently did like a 2-week stint where any new business that came in, I was donating to a specific charity. And so I actually screenshotted that portion of sales that went to that charity. We made a nice little card and we sent it to those clients and we said, because you made this commitment to your success and your business, you also impacted X charity by donating $250. And we made those donations in honor of these business owners' names or brands. And so I think that there has to also be that engagement that your clients also feel like, wow, okay, that's really awesome. Like you didn't have to send me that, but that makes me feel really good. That's really cool that we were able to do that together. So having it be just more so of more than just we're donating if you book a home remodel right now. It needs to be a long-term commitment.
Got it. Okay, and as we wrap up, I would love to hear kind of your 3 to 5 key takeaways of what people should take away from this session and start implementing in their business.
Yeah, so number 1 is going to be really making a decision of what you are certain about in your business right now. So you have to end this call and decide, how are you going to show up and how are you going to impact the industry? Because if you continue to pause or panic or try to figure out this extreme pivot in your business, there's too many people that are going to get ahead of you. And so you want to take action, and you want to take action quickly, and you want to make a decision of what that commitment is going to look like. 2 is going to be really, really, really challenging your mindset right now and moving forward. So if you are somebody that is hesitant to show up online because you're afraid of what people will think, or you don't like the way your voice sounds, or whatever it may be, we got to throw that out the window, because right now people want to see that connection. They want to build that relationship. It has to be more than just your beautiful design photos or your beautiful custom builds. They need to see you, and you need to cultivate those relationships. And I would say number 3 is going to be really being comfortable prospecting right now, filling that pipeline, knowing that if you want to be around 6 months from now, 12 months from now, you've got to be cultivating those relationships day in and day out. And that will start to happen when you start to show up. And then, number 4, I would say you've got to remember, and we didn't really touch base on this, but you're a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. You've got to be resilient. You've got to be the visionary. You've got to be willing to take risks. Maybe not everything makes sense when you write it down on paper, but trusting in yourself, your talent, your tenacity, your drive, that you will get through this, and that you are committed to not only yourself, your team, your family, the brand, will really help drive you through this in a way that you come out on the other side probably doing better than what your business was doing before. It's going to be a less saturated market. So advertising spend is going to be less. You're going to have less competition out there. There is a prime opportunity over these next 6 months to really put your stake in the ground as a business owner.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jessica. Such good feedback, and I hope that you found a piece of nugget that is going to inspire you from the comments and what everybody's saying. It sounds like our audience is very inspired. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to email us, and stay tuned for our next session here in just 30 minutes. We'll be doing a brand walkthrough with Jaipur, and thank you again so much for your time, Jessica. We'll see you guys soon.